Hey guys, today on the podcast I had Chef Cory Bidwell from The Hatch, located in Paso Robles. We had a great time talking about, how he got started, the things he likes to cook, some of The Hatch's specialties, what they're known for, their craft cocktails. It was a lot of fun. Stay tuned after the episode because Chef Cory invited me into his kitchen and we break down how to make some artichokes, which are super simple. Very easy to get acclimated to, not as intimidating as most people think. So stay tuned for that. We had a lot of fun and I hope y'all enjoy it. Thanks guys. I'm here with my guest, Cory Bidwell, and we're here at the Hatch on 13th Street in Paso Robles. Hi Cory, how's it going, man?
Good, very good. Yep. Rainy day here in Paso Robles, and we're loving it. Busy night, and
Yeah, I mean, and like we were kind of just talking about, rain is pretty much a special occasion out here. Most people don't see it too often, especially when you live here. Like I was kind of saying, I lived here for a while. So just give us a kind of a brief, overlay about what you do here. And
yeah. So I've been here at the Hatch about a year. I've known Eric and Maggie, the owners here, for a really long time. We go back almost 10 years. I'd worked together with Eric at a previous restaurant, and we've been in touch over the years and friends. And we were in talks when he had opened up the Hatch, but I wasn't part of the opening. And the cards played as they would, and then a couple years later I ended up here. I've always been friends with Eric, and so I'm here now. I'm the executive chef. Have been for the last year, and it's going great.
Things are going good?
Yeah. We had our, I'm going to say definitely cover count busiest year. The books will tell at the end of the year if it's going to be our busiest year financially. But it's been rocking and rolling all year round. We don't really see peaks and valleys. It's not really a seasonal marketplace here at the Hatch. And we're blessed for that.
Yeah.
A lot of it is keeping up. We're open 7 days a week, and so it's just always it's always rolling.
So just real quick, I don't want to talk too much Hatch pre Cory, because I'm here obviously to see you.
Sure.
Chefs talking shop. But how long has the Hatch been open?
Well, 4.5 years.
4.5. Oh man. Yeah. So they're doing.
I think June 15th, I think, is their opening date.
So that was the 4-year anniversary?
Yeah, that was the 4-year anniversary.
Okay.
I'm happy to talk about the Hatch before or after. It's kind of cool to see how things, reveal themselves and how they end up.
Yeah.
It's I can't take all the credit for what the Hatch is. It's like I'm part of a good company now, and I'm just here to really, make it efficient, make it effective, make it better. And that's kind of that was my main goal for the team.
So with us kind of talking about the Hatch, what would be like your pitch about the place, like your elevator pitch? Like what's our?
Well, the shtick that we go with is wood-fired comfort food.
Okay.
Within that, since I've come on, I've kind of played within the realm of Americana, which goes from classic things from lemon meringue pie, to more southern things like fried green tomatoes. I'm kind of identifying with the southern flair, which is just a fun cuisine to play around in. I've never really played around in before, but we do fried chicken, and then the Americana again. We have a meatloaf on the menu that's been on since day one. But within that, we play around with California ingredients and that kind of stuff, which kind of dictates what makes it new.
So now you touched on the meatloaf. So I don't know if you guys never had meatloaf, but you guys need to come out for the Hatch's meatloaf. So do you know where that came from? Because like you said, it's been on the menu since day one. So
yeah. The first chef that opened it up had a funny story about it being his mother's recipe, but I don't, from me knowing what the ingredients are, I don't think it was. But it's relatively basic. We put our house ketchup on it, which is a pretty unique ketchup. It's got a lot of pizzazz, I guess. It's got a lot of spice, a lot of flavor. But in the basis of the meatloaf, you're looking at ground meat, some eggs, breadcrumb, cheese, those kinds of things. You know, we put ground bacon in ours, which helps it out.
Okay.
You know, so you get that wood-fired smokiness of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's been on the menu. It's always a number one hit, and when I came on board, that was one of the untouchable items that, you know.
That was kind of in the contract.
Yeah, there's a handful of things on there
table.
that are like they have to stay, and so within that realm, I get to play.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, people love it. You know, it gives an option for those people that want to come in and have, you know, something simple, something that's familiar, something that's not incredibly expensive. You know,
Yeah. I mean, it still comes with that soft poached egg on the top.
Yeah, and it's got a poached egg on top of it too.
Yeah,
You know, so that adds a little oomph to the dish, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about. Well, I came up. My early beginnings were from, as I mentioned here, is in like a breakfast cafe. My dad actually owns a breakfast cafe. He's been owner operator for 12 years or so now. So I don't know if it's that makes me really love eggs, but there's something about putting an egg on a burger, putting an egg on meatloaf.
Yeah.
I mean, it's egg on pizza, man. You know.
I mean, the egg yolk is the sauce that, you know, humans could never recreate. You know, that's just that's the sauce that Mother Nature provides, and so, you know, from that, its complexity is, you know, unreplicatable, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's been eggs on things has become more trendy in the last 10 years or whatever, but there's a reason why. It's delicious.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would wholeheartedly agree. Is there like some common myths or like misnomers about Southern food or about what you guys do here that you kind of would want to?
Let's see. I don't know. You know, misnomers. I don't know. Southern food is, you know, considered, you know, healthy, unhealthy, or greasy, and these kinds of things. You know, stick to your ribs kind of stuff. And I don't know if we're necessarily associated with that, but we have, you know, we have a little bit of both. Because we're in California, it would be foolish not to use the bounty of vegetables and such that we have at our disposal.
Especially where we are.
Yeah, and so, like, on our menu, we offer a little bit of both there, you know, since, you know, my style of cooking is very vegetable heavy, and I love to play around with vegetables, especially with wood fire and that kind of stuff, give people a take on wood-fired vegetables, something they might not have seen before. And so, you know, we do have some stick-to-your-rib stuff. We're talking about meatloaf, we're talking about fried chicken, you know, but at the same time we have, you know, we have roasted beet dish, we have artichokes, and, you know, we have roasted carrots right now is on the menu. So, you know, I like to have those options for people that want to come multiple times a week, that don't want to, you know, that aren't going to feel like they're overindulgent or something like that.
Because you can't really, you know, just chow down fried chicken every day.
Yeah, no, as much as some of us would like to.
I know.
I don't know if that's if that works.
But if I could have a meatloaf with an egg on it every day, I'd probably do that. You know,
I don't know.
You gotta wheelbarrow me out of here. But.
Yeah, totally. I get it. I don't know. You know, I don't know if there's misnomers that you know, people say. I try not to. You know, I try not to pay too much attention to what is said and what may or may not be true. But you know, what I can say is that we have a killer cocktail list, and, you know, our food, I think, is, you know, just the same. And so that just keeps the place packed, keeps us busy.
Are there some things that people sometimes overlook when they come, like that don't get enough shine, like the roasted carrots?
Sure, yeah, the roasted carrots are the dish. You know, there's always a wild card vegetable dish that I throw in there. That I think is fun, and it's usually hyper seasonal. You know, right now carrots aren't hyper seasonal, but like it's a root vegetable, it's winter, it's that kind of thing. You know, before that we did a elote, which is like a street corn deal.
Oh, nice.
But there's always that vegetable dish that people are like, I'm not too sure about. Like with the carrots right now, we do like a tahini yogurt and sumac, and so some unfamiliar ingredients, you know, and so I get excited when people order those kinds of things, you know, just to try it out. But, you know, not everybody comes in to be adventurous. Not everybody comes in to be educated. I don't expect that of people, but some people do want to come in for that, you know, try something they've never tried before. On that note, we just started serving chicken backs.
Okay.
So we rotisserie chicken every day, and that's always on our menu until we run out. And so what we've been, you know, I was saving, we basically have to have the chicken, and to do that you have to cut it down the back.
Yeah, you gotta kind of cut the spine out, right?
Cut the spine out, right? And so we were using the spines for stock and things like that, taking them when I was eating them, you know, and so early in the summer I was like, you know, I'm just gonna let's see if we can special these out and see if people can sell it, you know. And so they're like $9 or something like that. And so I made them like a bar snack, So we do the chicken backs. They're smoky, they're rotisserie, they're delicious. And then we like flash fry them, which like crisps the skin on it. We serve it with like hot sauce and pickles.
Okay.
Which is like a really fun dish, and it's got good reception. Better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah. And is it finger foody? Like you can. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like a rib.
Oh, nice.
There's not very much meat on it, but there are some decadent pieces of the chicken that lie along the back, like the oyster.
That's what I was just about to bring up.
Yeah.
Is the oyster still on?
Yeah, so the oyster's on it, and then there's neck meat, and then there's other meat that runs down the back. And so, I was like, it's kind of a shot in the dark, but like people been getting it, and people like it, and it's like I do it like, I would want to eat it vinegary and spicy. Hot sauce, which our hot sauce is awesome, and then pickles and a bunch of salt. So.
Yeah, I mean those are some of my go-tos. I mean, you make my mouth water just talking about
this totally.
Food so, right now.
Yeah, they're really fun. That's something that people have been hesitant to try, and I've had a couple people that didn't like it, but I thought it would be fun, and it's got a good reception.
Yeah. How do you have any advice on how people to handle criticism like that? Like when somebody doesn't like something that you put out? I mean, it's not something that on another interview we were talking about Yelp reviews and how sometimes you take them the wrong way. Do you have any
like how to handle those? So yeah, I mean, I have a theory on Yelp and those kinds of things, but I don't want to get too deep into it. But as a chef and as like I'll talk about it. But as a chef and as like what some people would consider an artist, you can't pay too much heed to all of it, right? And so if you pay too much heed to what you hear on Yelp review and criticisms of people all the time, I can only speak for myself. I feel like, my creativity would
kind of
diminish.
Right? Well, I'm not trying to lead you into that, but that's what I would think.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like I've worked in this industry for almost 18 years, and so it's like I have to believe that with my training and with all that for the most part, I'm confident in what I'm serving, and if somebody doesn't like that, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't expect everybody to like everything, and so. What I look for are trends, if something comes up multiple times and people, it's a constant, people are talking about the same thing, and there's a trend there, and it's like, okay, maybe that's not fitting mine.
Yeah.
But, for the most part, as a creative director of a company, it's like, you want to hear what people are saying, but you only pay so much heed to that. And, in my career, it's gone up and down, sometimes the blows are heavy, it's like, dang, am I doing the right thing here, But at the same time, you have to be persistent, you have to be resilient, you have to believe in what, I believe in what I'm doing, and my training is good. Tastes good.
Yeah. You got to believe what you're putting up to an extent.
For sure, and that you have to be confident in that, and chefs require a lot of confidence to feed thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah, especially because people are coming and they're paying money for something you put out there. That could be a stressful interaction,
Oh, absolutely.
They're paying for something that you create,
and
essentially you and your team are responsible for executing, So that can definitely be a stressful situation, so to speak.
Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about that. Like, the restaurant industry is incredibly difficult. I don't think that the benefits. I don't think that restaurants are necessarily designed for success. It's like literally trying to please everybody.
Yeah.
What I say about that, it's like, the idea of trying to please one person is so incredibly difficult, and then to please, 10 or 1,000 or 100 of people, hundreds of people on a regular basis, it's like, odds aren't with you.
No.
And so you have to put your best foot forward and believe that what you're doing is right, and that, for the most part, people are going to be happy.
Yeah. In the low ball, you got to think that if you're doing, you've been successful for a year, say low ball, you guys are doing 100 covers a night. I don't know if that's...
No, that's way too low.
Oh, yeah. So even at that, that's about 700 to 1,000 people a week. That's, that's a lot of people to please. So, and if you're not getting... If people are still coming, you obviously, you're batting pretty well. You're hitting percentages up there. Do you have any advice for any other people who are trying to start this type of business or trying to get into cooking, specifically?
Yeah, in my position, I have a lot of people that come in, that have never done it before into the kitchen and things like that, and could be a really long conversation. It's like it goes into like the stardom of Food Network and that whole thing. It's like what I feel like reality chefs and that kind of thing brought to this industry is like this huge stardom, which is great. It was great. It kind of made being a chef like a kind of celebrity.
Glorified it.
Yeah, glorified it.
Glorified it to the position.
And so, in that, I was cooking before it was cool, and then like it got cool, and I'm like, sweet, I'm already in it. And then, and then it's kind of, it's got certain things along the way, and what I wind up telling people that are in the kitchen with me, it's like, you got to put in the work, and whether that's going to culinary school and learning all the fundamentals along the way, or it's just being in the industry for a long time. It's working your way up. It's treating your steward the way you treat your executive chef. It's just putting in the work. Listen, find the right, work in the right places, read the right books, and just put your head down and work. That's all I can claim that I've done. Somehow one way or the other, you pick up so much along the way. You try, you fail, you succeed in so many different ways, and then at some point somebody recognizes somebody, they want you to then be, at the head of their team.
Yeah,
that's my story.
That's like a blessing. Like when somebody wants to put you, at the head of the team, that's a huge compliment. Is what I meant. Like not so much a blessing. That's a huge compliment on you as a chef, and what you're actually bringing to the table.
So, as a person,
as a person.
It's like,
so you kind of said that you have new people. What's the first thing that you do if you have a new guy?
I have a new person massaging today.
Okay.
And so it really depends on experience. I can tell right away. First thing I do with people, I have them come and work with me in the kitchen for 6 hours on load. They sign a contract and this kind of thing, and it's like. Resumes only go so far. Conversations I have with people only go so far. Like the only thing that matters is what you can do in the kitchen and how you measure it.
Yeah.
And so, ideally, with a very new person, I would start them in our Grand Marché station, which is like a cold salad appetizer station, mixed with a little bit of pastry, some less intense, less liabilities. You're not dealing with fire, really. You're not dealing with, potentially burning yourself, those kinds of things. And it all starts with learning how to, dress salads and make them pretty and delicate. It starts with like this delicate area of Grand Marché, and that's like, for me, one of my favorite positions because it shows finesse, it shows grace. If you can treat vegetables. The way they should be treated, which is delicately and softly handled. And then, from there, you move probably, and this is all the hierarchy of French cooking as well. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but this is the hierarchy. And then it moves into something more blunt and intense, like sauté or something, something hot, where you're moving fast.
With sauté, you would do sauté before grilled?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Especially with the wood fire, I imagine it adds another element of.
Yeah, you think grill. I'm thinking, classically you're dealing with more proteins, like meat temperatures and those kinds of things. And so sauté is a mixture of vegetables and proteins and pastas and those kinds of things, which are, I'm not going to say less delicate or anything like that, but it's a blend of things, but, working with sauté pans and fire and those kinds of things, it's navigating time management and organization and those kinds of things. And then from there, you go up to grill and, somewhere in between there, I get people on, heavy prep regimen, where that's where you start understanding the why and the how and, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the path that I would hope people who come into my kitchen would take.
I agree. Normally I would start somebody on Grand Marché or pantry, whatever type of restaurant you're in, because you kind of touched on it, but Grand Marché, you got to be quick and delicate. You have to be. That's where you kind of learn the amounts really matter, and you got to be delicate on the way you set things up, because the salad's got to go out above all. I mean, it's got to be the right quantities with everything in there. The vegetables got to be handled properly, and then it's got to be plated right. Because you can just put a mound of lettuce on a plate and try to send it out, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's not the love that it really deserves.
Yeah, and like I was saying, with the people that work in the kitchen that are staging and what, I figured that out real quick, and not to say they make the cut or don't make the cut, there's people that have some more, they're talented in one way or the other, and sometimes they can find, positions for them in different ways. Some people just aren't delicate.
Yeah, some people got bigger hands. It just doesn't work. You can't get them on garbage day. I've definitely had that. And then there's, especially when you're in like a quaint kitchen, and I would say at the very minimum, you guys have a quaint, very quaint kitchen. There's like a dance that's going on in there.
Yeah.
And some people, they like stumble over their feet a little bit, especially in tight spots like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It just reminds me of, don't trust a skinny chef kind of deal, but like working as a chef in a kitchen is an athletic event.
Yeah.
It's like, there's people of all different shapes and sizes, in kitchens, but to be able to function and maneuver, it's a workout. It'll keep you fit, and and like working in small spaces, it's you work with people for a while, you figure out the dynamics. It's like perception of space around you, and those kind of things just come with time. They come with practice. They come with working with certain people for a long time. You can kind of anticipate the next move and those kinds of things. But yeah, new people in the kitchen, I just tell them to not be unpredictable. It's like you just do what you're gonna do, and I'll work around you.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like just communicate to me like kind of what you're doing, and don't stay the course. Stay the course of what you're doing, and I'll dance around you.
Yeah,
and we'll bring this together. But if you start jumping and
I think it's problematic.
Yeah. Do you have any hurdles that you personally face that you could kind of think of off the top of your head?
Oh sure, yeah. I think hurdles is people's story of their life. It's like everybody's got hurdles and those kinds of things. My whole career is hurdles. I think for a lot of chefs, their career are hurdles. It's like, where did you succeed? Where did you fail? What did you learn from that? And so, I think people wind up in kitchens and stuff. I can't speak for everybody, but part of my story is like a hurdle. It's like where I started at a young age. I started thinking about where am I going to land? How am I going to be successful? What do I need? What gives me what I need? Which is money, is my time occupied, is a creative outlet. What are those things I need? And so it's like I found myself in a kitchen, and it was. For some other reasons that I found myself in a kitchen, but hurdles of that, it's like you're washing dishes or these kind of things, and you're like, is this where I want to be, and then you move on to a restaurant, up to a kitchen job and these kinds of things, and for me, I'd worked in a restaurant since I was 14 years old, and then I'd moved away from my hometown, which is Redding, California, far up north, and I moved down here.
Shout out to Redding.
Shout out to Redding, there. Lovely place to be from. And so, and then I wound up down here with, without a job, and do I want to go to school? What's a hurdle? That would be what am I going to existential crisis? What am I going to do with my life? And along the way, you lose people, you lose friends, you lose family, and these kinds of things in this pursuit of, in my case, what are my needs? Are my needs being satisfied? Am I satisfied with my creative outlet? Am I making enough money to survive? Am I doing the right thing? What is meant for me? And so, I'd gone to school for a really long time, and I kind of always worked and paid my way to college. Through Cuesta and Cal Poly, and then I'd always held a restaurant job, and then you get to a point of where somebody's willing to invest in you, and they're like, what, I want to do this thing together. And so another hurdle, I would say, you pick one route, and I chose to open up a restaurant and be an executive chef and do these kinds of things and kind of sacrifice everything really, but a school career, all of my time, friends, family, loved ones, those kinds of things, in this pursuit of this thing that satisfied what I at that point thought think are my needs, and so yeah, there's just a ton of hurdles in this industry, and I think people that are good at navigating hurdles and thriving in chaos typically thrive in restaurants.
Yeah, thriving in chaos is a very good way to put it, because it kind of is like controlled chaos. I mean, throughout the dinner service, there's this like rush of going through it, and then you get to the end, and it's finally like you have to go through something to appreciate the piece. You have to go through some hardness, and that's kind of like the services. And you appreciate when it's done, and you've succeeded very much at the end of every night.
Sure, and I mean that's I can only speak for myself, but that's why I found myself in the restaurant. That's why I've made good friends in the restaurant and hospitality industry. It's like there's a lot of like-minded people that for whatever their reasons are, thrive in this chaotic environment. Are good at managing stress and seek out this more stress to thrive in. It's like the peaceful life that I can say that I have at home now. Is necessary due to my career, which is chaos. But it's ideally controlled chaos and good and nourishing in some respects.
I mean, like with the whole like health boom as of recent, and how like healthy is sexy as of late. Like I've been researching health a lot more in more recent years of my life, especially more so than when I was 20. When I was 20, everything that I was eating was just to make it. Just because it was good, and I would eat fried chicken and meatloaf every day if I had it my way. But like, there's this thing about like you getting through stress, like small stressors. It's actually really good for your body. So that's why like people do cold showers, and that's why like people get in the sauna. And I don't know, but I can only imagine that there's something therapeutic about going and putting yourself through this controlled chaos, as we called it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's like. It's you appreciate the path when you get to the destination. It's like, but once you've done that so many times, you can see that this path is going to ultimately lead to a destination, which 99% of the time is successful, which is good. And you just do your best to stay the course. During the day, and. Yeah, I mean, and you need to rest your mind, you need to rest your body, and those kinds of things after. I mean, mental health and stuff in the kitchen is a crazy boom right now, and it's important, and everybody does that.
Is there anything, it could be broad or specific, that you wish that you knew now, that you wish you knew when you started? Maybe the 12-hour days. Maybe the fact that it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always liked hard work. I've always worked in laborious jobs, and so for me, I appreciate labor. I like to sweat. I like to work hard. Those kinds of things. I mean, the long days. I expected to come at some point. If I ever wanted to be at the head of a kitchen or a restaurant or whatnot. Let's see what else. Something that I would have known. Yeah, I mean.
Not to cut you off, going back to the controlled chaos, like I watched Pirates of the Caribbean last night, and that's all I can think about. Is like the executive chef, and they're just in the storm, and that's kind of, you're just on this boat, and you just got to keep going and keep going to get get through it.
I guess something that I wish I would have realized, if not that anybody could have told me and I would have believed them, but chefs aren't invincible, That's something that I realized in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, that there's a certain amount, you're asked to be partially inhuman as a chef of a restaurant, and whatever it is, whether you're managing the front of the house, the back of the house, and these kinds of things. People expect you to be there first, they expect you to be there last. You're ultimately everything falls on you, and for a long time, I considered myself to be this invincible being, and I could party all night, and I could, I didn't have to sleep, and I could work all day. Yeah, if I would have realized that a long time ago, in my teen years, that probably would have saved me some headaches. But everybody comes around, when they figured it out.
So how did you exactly get started? cooking? Because you kind of mentioned that you were cooking while you were going to school, and that you always
Yeah,
had a restaurant job. So
I got cooking. So when I was really young, probably before I was legal to work, I was like clearing property, like working in timber, and I did some construction on jobs. And then I think I was a freshman in high school, and I got a job washing dishes at an Italian joint up in Reading. And like I said, there's a certain amount of attractability there. It was chaos, and that was like really attractive to somebody like me, and I was good at it. I only washed dishes for maybe 2 months, and then they had pulled me out. Not that I want to throw anybody under the bus, but they had started me legally before I was supposed to work there, and then whatever, I turned 14 and a half or whatever it was at the time, and I had got a work permit and this kind of thing, and I was already cooking. And I was, working with guys that, were, twice or 3 times my age that, their performance under the pressure and things like that, and being able to feed thousands of people in a week at that place was really attractive.
Were they super welcoming? And
I mean, it's a bunch of delinquents.
I wanted to say that earlier. Like a kitchen is just a bunch of delinquents, and you find family there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I definitely read that somewhere in like an old Marco Pierre White book,
Yeah.
or something like that. But it's that's what it is. It's a bunch of people who don't make it. Not everybody, and I'm not trying to put the industry down at all. But there is people who don't make it other places, and then they find a home here.
Yeah.
They find family, and it might be distress. It's therapeutic.
For
I don't know what it is.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely part of my story is childhood delinquency, looking for a place to land. It's like where I grew up, there wasn't a lot of options to, for employment and these kinds of things for a teenage kid that was, trying to find his way. A lot of people wind up in it that way. I had, passions towards, being the center of a party and those kinds of things, which I later realized that, I liked to be the provider of the central part of large gatherings and these kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, people wind up in restaurants for a ton of different ways, but like delinquency is definitely part of my story. Looking for a place to land, looking for a way to get, to get some cash, to stay out of trouble, to to find like-minded people, and that's for sure. That's for sure why I landed in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started, and then and then later, of course, you realize that chaos. You realize that wow, I've actually got way more practice at driving in chaos than I realized.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm good at this. And I liked the rush. I liked the hard labor. I liked pleasing people. I liked all these things, and then when I turned more 18, I moved down here. I kind of started to study the tradition of French cuisine and things like that, where it's it's the same as most cuisines, except there's just well documented. It's just well written down.
Yeah.
To understand the philosophy and these kinds of things, and become really interested in it, and then and then I was catering in Denmark and Barcelona when I was 20, 21, and 22 years old for friends and acquaintances that had just wanted somebody to cook, and I wanted to travel, and
How'd you end up falling into that? I mean, that's a
my
big deal
sister
for me.
was like studying abroad over there and had a family, was throwing a party. There's this giant party, and she was like, "Hey, my brother cooks. He lives in California,
You were just like, bring them on.
Well, I was like, well, let's make a trip out of it, and I had done this whole of the terroir of Copenhagen dinner for 100 people or something like that. I was 21 or 22 years old, and I wound up being successful, and so, experiences at the time that were, unfathomable that I could ever accomplish to do, putting myself in there and being able to, be successful.
Yeah, and then that all came from cooking. Like, so before that, did you know that you were gonna kind of pursue this?
Before what?
Before actually going overseas and doing this catering?
Yeah. I mean, I was in it, like I said, I was in it when I was 14, 15 years old. And so when I moved down here, I had always planned on being, getting a job. I had worked in the front of the house to try to, free up some hours so I could go to school and these kinds of things. But, I would inevitably be pulled into the kitchen, once I turned in my resume, people would be like, okay, well, you want to be a server, but you know,
you have all this experience. Like, come on, buddy.
Yeah. So I'd only fool people for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I never would have known this was a lifelong thing, until, I always thought it would be part of me. I always liked to cook, I always liked to throw parties and those kinds of things. But yeah, that was at a young age. I was, 16 years old, and then I started really appreciating it probably when I was 18.
Okay.
But, by the time I was, 19 years old, I had already, 5 years experience in the kitchen. So it was like, this is always going to be a way I could provide for myself. I studied business of agriculture at Cal Poly to kind of like, mend with, the farmer table, that kind of thing, sourcing. That was I wanted a business degree, but I also wanted something that was more applicable to my profession.
That's kind of what you were doing.
Yeah, and so that's why I studied there, and it was, it's good. It's good. It was good to figure out how to operate a business and those kinds of things, and put me in contact with branches and things that I've, used in the past. But yeah, I mean, being in the industry has always paid bills. It's always been, it's always been hard, but it's always been nourishing.
It's always been there.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, there's always kind of, I haven't really moved much, but it seems like wherever you go, there's always, restaurants, people need to be fed.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on something that never really dawned on me, but at a gathering, like, you're not the reason that people are there, but you're kind of the reason people are there. Yeah. Like when you're making the food, like not everybody's there for the food, but they kind of are. Like,
yeah.
And when everybody's done, everybody always talks about the food that is there.
Yeah.
So that's a big.
I've had people ask me, what got you into cooking, and that was kind of the pretty picture that I painted. But I decided today that would be a little more real and talk about, delinquency, fear, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, that was something that I saw when, like, the reality that I talked about in my childhood. It was like seeing my grandma, and I used to help her make spaghetti and meatballs and those kinds of things, and like, she'd be cooking in the kitchen, and everybody would be mixing and mingling, but then like, she was always very formal, right? So she'd set the table, and she has a dining room that's sunken in, and so this is like, classic class, a little bit older school class, it's kind of gone by the wayside these days. And I always really respected that. Food should be set. Like, she was very strict about setting the table and these kinds of things. And then when it was time to sit down and have dinner, she would present this feast, and it would be the center of the party.
Okay.
And I was always, as a kid, she'd always get me involved in that, and I was like, yeah, I did that, So that was that was for sure an attractive part of it for me.
Okay. So that's kind of cool. Was it like super traditional? Did she make like pasta from scratch? And
no.
Oh, okay.
No, not really.
That would be a nice upbringing.
Yeah, no. It's all, she does well for, grandma and those kinds of things. Okay. But no, she's not like it's not an Italian mother that's rolling out gnocchis or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice to have that. I think literally, like, before actually working in the kitchen, I didn't have much cooking experience coming into it. I actually remember, like, the first thing that I actually cooked in a restaurant was just like a grilled ham and cheese, like on a flat top and stuff. So that's kind of where I got my, start. Is there something that you can touch on specifically that you draw inspiration from?
No.
Like when you're...
I mean, I couldn't be that specific. I get inspiration from everywhere, I mean, my girlfriend makes me something and I replicate that, or, I see a cool ingredient that I want to incorporate, or the seasons change and it's like, oh, that'd be fun, how am I going to get that on the menu, or,
okay.
Or maybe people haven't tried this, like, it's everywhere, and sort of, for somebody like me, it's just always inspiration, and like, you got to kind of narrow it down and then like, make it fine, business
applicable, right?
Yeah, business applicable, and it's got to reflect my creativity. But like, I think inspiration for me, and I've thought about that before. It's like, what is it that's inspiration? But it's everything. I mean, I go out to eat pretty regularly. I'm actually going to the French Laundry Tuesday night, which I've never eaten there before, which is exciting. Okay. So I dine everywhere I go. It's always part of my traveling or vacation or trips or things like that. I'm always eating. I'm always trying to find what's best, what's new, what's cool, what's old, what's fun. all of my, so I follow it on all food stuff, social media,
social media,
reading all, published articles, those kinds of things. It's like, I think for me, it's like I sleep, eat, breathe, everything.
Sleep and eat, breathe food.
In restaurant, in restaurant business and hospitality.
So when you're like catching inspiration for a dish, is it always the main thing, or you?
No. Tend to like come up with a cool sauce or see a cool sauce or something and work from there. Like, what would that be good? What would that be good with? Or, I've had things come. It's dishes come inspiration of a garnish.
Yeah.
It's usually. I don't know. I shouldn't say it either isn't like the main component, but it's a little bit of both. But a lot of times we'll start with a seasoning. Like a sumac right now. I'm like kind of on a sumac kick for last year, which is like a really cool, fruity, floral North African spice. And so it's like, oh, what is that going to be good with? And then it goes from there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sweet. Let's like carrots. Let's roast them or like smoky. So I wouldn't say.
So it kind of just starts with something, and then you build.
For the most part,
from there.
Sometimes I'll see something, I'm like, wow, that's a really cool way to plate that. Like. What can I plate that's similar to that, or what kind? Sometimes I can plate, and I'm like, what can I?
How can I dress
cool
this? Yeah, you have a canvas.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
Like, how am I gonna, fix this out the best way?
Yeah, I mean, we have these wooden boards customized for us that are indented just specifically for bone marrow, right? And so they have like this indentation, which really isn't much use for anything else. And so I've kind of been thinking about that recently, like what could be cool in that little indentation, And then from there you're kind of held back by a lot of things as well. It's like, wow, I could actually make something really fancy with that, but it's like, but that's not really what I want to do here in the hatch. That's rolls and things like, that's not in the right demographic, or maybe when avocados come back in season, I could do a puree or something, but it's always it's a full-time job up here.
Yeah, you always got plays, you kind of storing stuff like a squirrel, or you're just storing nuts back there, and you'll bring them around so to speak when winter comes.
Totally. I wish I was better at journaling, but I'm not. But if I could journal everything, I'd probably be much more.
If you just log everything down.
Yeah.
Every time they say, like in joke writing, every time you get an inspiration, you need to write it down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because once it's gone, it's gone. And then you're stuck in the what was I thinking about? Then you're losing sleep over it.
Yeah, totally. But it comes and goes, and it'll come again, and it's something new, and it'll change.
So, what's something that you always have in your fridge? Like, what's your go-to that you're gonna make? Like,
cured meats usually.
Okay.
I'll do like
just doing charcuteries all day.
No, but I've been on this like crazy trend of eating this particular salad that my girlfriend made for me probably a year ago, and it's like an antipasta salad, so it's like preserved stuff. It's like pepperoncinis, a couple different types of olives, Anthony olives, Arpini olives. Cured meats like a bresaola or just like classic salami, and then like some kind of cheese, romaine, or butter lettuce or romaine salad with like some kind of vinaigrette. And so it's like, for me, I get spicy from the pepperoncinis, I get salty from the meats and olives, and the cheese, and it's like relatively healthy with it's a salad. I've got the lettuce in there, cucumbers, tomatoes, about it. But that's pretty much always in my fridge right now. Like, I'm all about spicy, acid, salt, those kinds of things, as most chefs are.
I think so. Like, if I have to think about a dish, it's got to have those three at some point. It's got to have a little bit of that.
Totally. That's always in there. What else is always in there?
Is there something that you have to go to? So, like, if you're cooking for somebody who doesn't know you, some family, some friends coming over. Somebody drops by, hey man, I'm hungry, you got anything? Are you just whipping out that antipasta salad, or?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good pocket pull, but I don't know. Usually when I cook at home, I'm cooking like Southeast Asian or something like that, because it's got those vinegar, it's got that spice, it's got the umami, those kinds of things. I've been playing around with some Thai food recently. I've done like, I don't know, all kinds of things. I like to do things that people won't make for themselves. Like I'll do a ceviche or something, or some kind of, I've done like larkai, which is like a ground meat, kind of lettuce wrap. It was super good.
Nice. Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Usually, if I'm cooking, people will, I ask them, I'm like, anything in the world, what do you want? Because it's like, I would like to try something new as well. Something I tried recently that my sister asked, but I hadn't had is like it's called Hainanese chicken or something like that. It's like a boiled, it's like a blanched whole chicken. It's really bizarre, but it's super good.
What do you do with it after you blanch it?
So you like blanch it, and then you like dip it in ice water just till it's cool enough to cut, and then you like cut it up and you serve it with rice, and then.
Wait, is the chicken cooked?
Yeah, when you blanch it, it like cooks it.
Okay.
I mean, you cook it until like it's done, like 165 degrees or whatever, and then in that pot it makes a stock, and you serve it with like rice and a couple sauces. It's super basic, but like it's all about using a really quality chicken. It's about having your poultry brine for like 24, 48 hours before, and so it's just a really pure dish. Something that I've never tried before. I did. I was super happy to learn.
So you blanch it, ice bath it,
yeah,
and then you serve it cold.
No, so you just blanch it enough to where you can handle it, or you just cool it just enough so you can handle it, and you cut it up, it's still hot on the inside. So it's like, it's not steaming hot, but it's...
Yeah, and that kind of stops it for cooking, because one of the bad things about boiling chicken is it gets dried out. I mean, because you're
sure. I was very concerned when this recipe I looked up was like, drop whole chicken in boiling water.
Drop whole chicken.
This goes against everything I've ever known. But anyway, it's a cool dish. So
when reading another recipe, do you how tried and true are you? Do you like read a couple things and then just go off the Richters, like do your own thing, or do you really like?
Yeah, I mean, just like because I put in the time, I feel like I understand the fundamentals. It's like I can predict how things are going to behave. What I have realistic expectations of how things are going to come to fruition. Because it's like an educated guess, really.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I'm looking for something, I'll look at 3 or 4 different recipes, and I'll get the gist of it, kind of the main points, and then.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of. I feel like I do the same thing. I mean, because a lot of techniques they cross over. Like you were saying, you kind of touched on it. Like French food, it's just well documented. It pretty much transcends. Though, I mean, now I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but like. Asian food might be the only one that's a little different. Like I don't feel like they braise as much, and some things they don't cook.
Yeah.
They do that more than other cultures. But no knock on Asian food. Shout out to Asian food. That's one of my favorite things in the world. And that's like a common denominator when I'm asking somebody what their go-to, what do they like to eat. A lot of people say Asian food. Yeah. It might be the sugar. I don't know.
That's it.
I think that sweetness that they use is kind of getting people in. There's So you said that you've lived. How long have you actually lived on the Central Coast?
Lived down here when I was 18, and 32 years now, so.
Going 14 years. So if you happened to be off on a Saturday, like what's some type of things that you would find yourself doing out here?
For fun or to eat?
Either.
I do. I play golf. I swim. I hike. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Shout out to Goshi in San Luis Obispo. That's my go-to spot. They're my favorite spot in the county for sure.
Keeping with the trend of Asian food.
Yeah, I mean, I can go in there and feel clean after I left. I don't gorge myself. Their service is always great. It's like the closest to unique, our authentic Japanese food you can get around here. So, Saturday nights, I don't know. I mean, I practice a lot of self-care. I work a lot of hours, and so, getting alone space, to myself is important to me. It's how we might call it meditation, but just like solitude, I answer 27,000 questions a day. And so, like, just to not.
No, you just to kind of focus on the present at the moment.
Just to be peaceful, that's a more recent thing that I've done, but like, like I said, I like to swim, which is a similar meditative kind of thing for me, or golf, or hike, if I'm not with my girlfriend hiking alone. That's more or less it. I like to go out to eat. If I were out on a Saturday, I try to stay away from restaurants on Saturday nights, but I do like to check out and see what people are doing, South County, North County, San Luis Obispo. Like I said, I'm always.
Are there any other like gems out here that don't get enough love?
Gems?
Yeah.
gym
Small,
stuff.
like anything, like.
I'm not part of a gym right now. I mean, I was doing some training.
Oh no, like a gym, like a spot.
The gyms that don't get enough love. I don't know.
I really like to give love to J&R Meat.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I've worked with them for a long time. Yeah, no, I've
Goshis, I mean, freaking, they're pretty big out there.
I've worked with Jim and Jerry at J&R for a really long time. They supplied all the meat for a previous restaurant that I worked at, and so I'd worked with them for a long time. Cool cats, they educated me in ways that I would have never learned, on my own. So they got quality product and super informed people there. I don't usually ask for help in the kitchen, but sometimes I'm like, give me an off cut. What are we working with?
Yeah.
How would you deal with it? And it's like a local butcher. It's like really hard to find these days. Where I grew up, I have a local butcher, and then I moved down here, and for the longest time, I didn't know about J&R, and so I just assumed it was a local butcher. So anyway, that's a gem.
Shout out to J&R.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know. I'd have to put some thought into it. It's kind of unsung heroes. I don't know.
Okay.
Got off the top of my head.
So, I mean, was there a specific reason that you ended up coming to Paso or to the Central Coast?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say it was far enough away from my hometown and not quite LA. That's what I used to say. I mean, I love LA now. Like, it's such a cool scene down there, but I was like, where I'm from is like as North California as you can almost get. And so
just imagine redwoods. Like, I don't really know.
It's in the valley there, but it is very Northern California. So to move to LA was like the antithesis of what I grew up as.
Okay.
But
so that was the Rivals.
That was the Rivals. And so
you want to play for the Dodgers now?
Like I'm a Giant man, I'm a Kings fan. It was far enough away that I could feel distance from there, and plus to college, I was that's where I started going to school. I had an inn there, and that was a lot of the reason why. I thought I'd just get a job in a restaurant. I didn't have any idea what that would become, and I've loved the Central Coast ever since, and I love Paso Robles, and I love San Francisco, and now this is for sure home. Every time I've traveled anywhere in the world, it's like, I get back to the Central Coast, and it's like deep breath.
You get like a sigh.
Yeah. I've known a lot of people that have lived here and moved away, and just forever miss it, and I've been fortunate enough to be here for as long as I have.
Yeah, you get the best of a lot of things here. The weather's great, you get great food. You're in drinking, you get great wine, great distilleries, great beer now. I mean, everybody's doing something.
Yeah, I really like to fish, and so fishing was kind of hard for me around here. I grew up with rivers and streams and lakes and those kinds of things, and hunting. And so those things I don't really get around here, which is fine.
Do you try ever going off the coast?
I'm more of a freshwater. I don't mind fishing in the ocean, but I'm my favorite would be trout fishing, streams and things like that. Where I grew up, that's what you did, And so I don't mind fishing in the ocean, but I get that need fixed by traveling. I get places specifically for that. But other than that, Central Coast is everything.
So, do you have a favorite fish to eat? Do you have a go-to? Just one that you wish you could?
Say that. I mean, they're all so different. It's like I really love our local lean cod. Whether it's fried or cooked. You start talking about raw fish and mackerels, things like that. I love shellfish. I'm a huge crab fan. I've always been eating crab. My birthday's in November, and so crab season's always open right around my birthday. So that was
crab fest.
That would always be my birthday. I want crabs, and I'd spend 5 hours peeling them and eating them at the same time. And so,
it's a good thing. You get something to keep yourself busy. I mean, a lot of you need that. Sometimes you're around people who are uninteresting. You can focus on cracking open your crab and getting me going.
So I mean, the seafood and all that stuff. I like it.
Yeah. Do you is there anything that that you're not good at? Specifically,
not if you ask my girlfriend. What am I not good at? I wish I was better at golf. I've been playing it for a long time, and I wish I was better at that.
Would you leave cooking for golf?
No.
No. Yeah, never.
No. I would have to be good at it. I'm good at cooking.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I've been pretty blessed with my health and those kinds of things, and anything that I've tried to put my mind to, I've been more or less successful at. I don't play a musical instrument. That's something that I wish I was a little bit better at. I don't play any music. I do most of the singing in the kitchen while the country music's playing.
Hey man, you gotta keep it live.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sound too egotistical, but I've been pretty lucky with my health.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's good to have things, and then you could maybe have a singing career.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Some country western, like good coming out of Paso.
Yeah, we shall see.
Chef Eric dropping the country album. Chef Eric, I'm sorry, Cory.
Talking about me.
Yeah.
Got it.
But so I think as we're winding down, I mean, is there anything that you want to tell the folks at home?
I'm always gonna market for the hatch. We always find a spot for people. I suggest making a reservation at the hatch. We have a cocktail truck that is.
How do people get a hold of us? Like, is there a hatch.com?
Yeah, hatch. What are we? Hatch.com, hatchpassrules.com, something like that. Google it, you find it.
Okay.
And on there's a bunch of details. But yeah, I'm always trying to push for our cocktail truck. It's super cool. We can bring our bartenders and cocktails.
And that's a craft catering truck, right? Like,
yeah, so
it actually pulls out to location.
It does the drinks. We aren't really. I mean, we could possibly do food for it, but right now it's about cocktails. We want cocktails and drinks and whatever your events are, wedding and such. We can do that. We got awesome bartenders, awesome cocktails, access to all kinds of awesome liquor. And then always come into the hatch. Make a reservation. We're super busy. We're a small place. We do great numbers. But we are a great team. Communal, familial, and everybody here is very well trained. They know what they're doing. So they're professional. Back of the house, front of the house, and so come check us out here as well.
Cool. Last thing, do you have social media that you'd like people to maybe come check out?
Yeah, I'm not super active in posting on my own, but Chef Cory Bidwell, Chef_Cory_ Bidwell is my professional account. There, I got a few photos, but I always like to follow people that are doing interesting things, whether that's food related or not. And so, if people want to follow me on there, I'm totally down with that. And other than that,
I mean, if not, come see Chef Cory at the hatch.
I'll be here at the hatch. Yeah, I'll be in the kitchen, and then on some nights I'm in the front of the house, and so. I'll probably be here though.
Cool. Yeah, a little mix of both.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
Cool. Well, thanks, Cory, man, and we were out.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Chef's Talking Shop. I'm here with Chef Cory Bidwell. Thanks for having me in your kitchen again, brother. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming.
So, could you give us a breakdown of what you got going on for us?
Yeah, so today I think for this demonstration we want to do some artichokes. I decided to do artichokes today, I think, because they're intimidating sometimes for people to do at home. Yeah. They are also a pretty unique ingredient to California, especially the Central Coast and Central California, and some other parts of the world, but not everybody has access to them, and they are definitely one of our top sellers here at the Hatch. They're one of my favorite things to eat at home. And so, for those that are scared or intimidated by an artichoke, I want to break it down, show us what it can be.
Yeah, I mean, it could be easier than, it is easier than people think about, like, especially people get intimidated by, like, the length of time that it takes to cook them, but I'm sure you'll give a good explanation for it.
Totally.
So what's first up? What's the first thing?
All right, so first up, we got some pretty solid artichokes here right now. Artichokes grow year-round in California. These are coming out of Castroville, which some say is the artichoke capital of the world.
Okay.
They grow year-round. Some seasons get a little bit better when they get cold. Sometimes they'll bruise up around the outside, but pretty much you always have access to them here in California, so that's why they're a staple in the menu. Yeah, so
I've only heard about artichokes in California. Is there another place, another region that kind of does them?
think about Italy, places with similar climates, you know what I mean? That I think just the Mediterranean belt pretty much has artichokes as well, which is pretty much the same terroirs we have here in the Central Coast of Climate-wise, a lot of similarities in soils, That's why you see French varietals and Italian varietals of wine being grown here on the Central Coast.
Okay, being close because we have similar climate.
Very similar climate, very similar terroir all around.
Okay. If only we can get some of those San Marzano tomatoes, man. We'd be...
Yeah, we haven't been able to figure those out yet. All right. So anyway, artichokes. First step. What I like to do is, not entirely necessary, but for ease in eating, what I go through and do is trim off all the spines. So I don't know where I'm supposed to zoom in here, but on top there are these little points that litter all around from the top of the artichoke down, because the artichoke is technically a thistle, and that was their defense mechanism, is to have little spines on there. So I go through and really quickly, I had trimmed a few of these before you guys got here, but you want to go through and trim them all around just so people don't prick their fingers. Obviously you can leave them, if you're short on time, but
it's simple as that. Just go through with some shears.
Shears straight up, and you really just have to knock them off around this bottom part, because you'll see we're going to nip the top off with a knife.
Okay.
So we'll go through here and just make sure they're cleaned up so nobody's pricking their fingers. Boom, boom, boom.
Do you remember the first place you ever had artichokes?
At home.
At home? Really?
Yeah, my mom used to make them a lot for me. She was a big artichoke fan. And,
dude, I love it, man.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't the best cook in the world, but she made artichoke. I think she had a desire for them the same way I do now. I seriously eat artichokes 2 or 3 times a week. Okay. With this exact same sauce that we're about to make. They're just a great side dish. They're relatively light. Dip them in a little aioli, and they're pretty awesome.
No, yeah, I love it, man.
All right, so once you go around, trim all the spines off. I like to use a serrated knife, where you can just kind of even off the top. This will allow them to sit in the pot, and then you don't really have to be diligent about getting all of the spines all the way to the top. Okay. And so I'm going to show you how I do them at home here. Here at the Hatch, we do, over 100 a week, 150 a week. So we have to do them in a little bit larger batch. Yeah.
But here we can do something.
Yeah, and so you'll see when
ease of use at home.
Yeah, when I steam them in the pot, I'm not gonna get like a proper steamer setup. You really don't have to if you're doing it at home. You can just kind of set them in enough water where they're gonna boil for 30 minutes, but not cook all the way out. Okay. No harm, no foul. When I cook artichokes, I cook a whole one for myself. But nice. Not everybody does. So this is what you're looking for: trimmed up, flattened, easy to set in the pot.
You just cut the tips off like half an inch or maybe an inch or so?
Yeah, I mean, you can cut as much as you want, you know what I mean? Because really the edible part we'll see when you pull it off is down at the tip, I guess that is, of the leaf. Yeah. So that's that. These are ready to go. Spines are trimmed. They're cut flat. So that's that. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to make a flavored steaming liquid. Okay. Which is called a court bouillon in French. What this does is you have to steam them first. We steam ours for 30 minutes to make sure they're tender. And if you flavor this liquid, it's a way to get initial seasoning inside the vegetable itself. Okay. So what I like to do, there's a couple components that are a must. Some kind of vinegar creates an acid in there, which will...
Any particular type of vinegar?
White vinegar, apple cider vinegar. This is champagne vinegar. Okay. You can do red wine vinegar, rice wine vinegar. It doesn't really matter, but the acidity will keep them from oxidizing, and it also adds some acidic seasoning to the inside of the artichoke. Okay. So I always have acid, salt, and aromatics.
Yeah, that's essential in every...
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe exception to dessert, but...
Yeah, totally. So you don't have to get super fancy with this the way I am, but I'm just going to tie my herbs together so they're not bouncing around in the pot.
Makes them easier to take out.
Yeah, for sure. And so with the pot, I specifically chose this pot because, so let's see, we got what's called a sachet, tied herbs. So I chose this pot so they sit nicely in here. All right, so I could probably get 2 more artichokes in there and they would steam perfectly. So what do we got? We got our herbs, our vinegar, salt, just in the liquid. You don't got to get crazy with it, but just so it's seasoning throughout the vegetable. Okay. What I need is a little bit of water. Sorry about that.
And then so with this, You would set it up like this. You don't need to start the water boiling before you put the chokes in there.
Not necessarily. No. I
This
mean,
way
you can.
Okay.
You know, you just want to make sure when it's steaming that they steam for 30 minutes.
Okay. So once it starts rolling.
Yeah, you could get it going first and add them in there. You know, it's potato, I think, in this case. Not always the case, but I think in this case.
Okay.
So with the water, this is a quart deli cup here. It's really going to depend on the steepness of the sides of your pot, right? So you want just the tip of the artichoke. I don't know how you can see that, or if you can see that.
Can we see it in the pot?
You want enough liquid that's going to steam for 30 minutes, but it's not going to cook all the way out. So
okay, so the liquid is literally just coming to right here. So then the steam captures in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once it comes to a steam, we can turn it down on low, and there's a consistent cooking.
Yeah.
Via the steam.
Okay, because a lot of times, I mean, not a lot of times, but I've seen other people, they say that they steam them, but literally they're just boiling them. Like they just drop them in the boiling water.
Yeah,
so.
sure. And so when we do ours at the hatch, we actually set up a steam bath that holds 15 to 18 artichokes at a time.
Okay.
Where the artichokes are not sitting in the water, and we wrap the whole top in foil. But it's the same concept. This is how I do it at home.
Okay.
Works just fine. So we got our salt, we got our herbs, we got our vinegar, we got our water. That's that. So with some kind of pot lid, you know, professionals here, we use aluminum foil.
Yeah, no. Probably a tighter seal than some lids.
Totally.
And if you guys don't have a tight lid at home, I mean, I'd recommend the foil over a plate. Like,
yeah, totally. I mean, we use foil for everything. I think I really don't keep lids around for pots because they're hard to store.
Yeah.
And aluminum foil does great. All right, so we got a good seal. So we're gonna put it on the range. We're gonna crank it up so we start to see it steam, and then we're gonna turn it down to a low for 30 minutes. We'll do ours 33 minutes. Basically, you should be able to easily remove one of the outer leaves. Maybe give the stem a little squeeze to make sure it's nice and tender. That's the end of that.
okay.
So that'll take about 5 minutes for it to come to a boil. Then we'll turn it down, set a timer.
Were we able to see that transfer? Oh, okay, cool. So then now you can, movie magic, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so movie magic, I already have some steamed off for you guys for ease today.
Now, when you check them, do you want to wait for them to cool before you start doing this?
Yeah, sorry. You should check them when they're warm or when they're still hot. Make sure a leaf will pull off nicely as such. And then you want to cool it down if you're going to clean them the way I'm going to clean them.
Okay.
So at my house, I just serve them just like that.
Oh, nice.
And so we just eat around the outside until we get down to the heart, and then we clean the heart out on our plate and eat it that way.
Okay.
This is how I've always served them at home. I don't go through all the business of cleaning them ahead of time. But here at the Hatch, we do the hard work for you.
Yeah. You don't want to give somebody the heart, and then they're out there trying to stomach that down.
Yeah, well, you don't want the choke, right? So
Yeah.
you want the heart, but you don't want the
You
choke.
don't want the choke.
And that's the thistle part that can get caught in your throat.
And that's actually, I mean, now is that just like an old wives' tale, or is that something that can be detrimental to somebody who eats it?
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to eat it. I wouldn't try to stomach that.
Yeah, like, okay.
So this artichoke here is cooked as we discussed, cooled down. And so, like I said, I eat mine at home just like this. I just start on the outside and work my way in. But here at the Hatch, we do the work for you. So I like to cut it just right down the center. And so that reveals what you got going on there. So in the center, this little bit of hairy looking bit is the thistle, and that's the part you want to clean out. You know, artichokes come in different sizes, different maturities, all kinds of different things. Sometimes that thistle is large, sometimes it's small. This one is actually small, which is ideal.
Are they purple or pink sometimes?
Yeah, so there's such a thing as purple artichokes. I think it's just a little bit different varietal. These are globe artichokes.
Okay.
It's another varietal that I can't think of right now. Anyway, these are globe artichokes. They come from Castroville. They're awesome every time. They're really round and meaty.
Okay.
So
is Castroville somewhere that's local?
Yeah, so that's just north of Santa Cruz.
Oh, nice.
Okay, yeah,
cool.
On the coast of California. They're called the artichoke capital of the world. They grow a ton of artichokes.
Yeah, that's their thing.
Yeah, it's their thing. All right, so there's a different variety of ways to clean the choke out. I use a spoon. And you can kind of just dig in there and spoon it out. And then I'll get like a little finger in there, make sure all of the choke is out of it.
Those little thistles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want to try not to dig into the heart too much, because that's the prize piece you get at the end.
Yeah, that's the best part, right?
Right. And you don't want to pull too many of the center leaves out either.
Yeah, see, and just that quickly, it's already steaming. You can kind of hear it.
Yeah.
Right,
so there was, you think about it, I only put 2 cups of water in there, and on a professional range, that'll come up to boil in no time, especially with a lid on it. Sorry, I should. All right.
That's the noise the timer should be.
Yeah.
The timer's not beeping, there's something wrong with it.
Right. So these are all cleaned up. That's pretty much, they're ready to go right now. Today I think we're going to throw them on the grill the way that we serve them at the Hatch. But for now we're going to put together a little dipping sauce for it, which is a sesame and soy aioli that I really like. It's a sauce that a friend had taught me or showed me once upon a time, and I've been eating it at home ever since.
Oh, nice. So we're doing aioli
from scratch.
I dig it, man.
So I wasn't going to include this on the video, so I'll move a little bit quickly here just to show you, for those that are interested, how to make a quick mayonnaise at home. So mayonnaise is essentially egg.
Is there a reason that you didn't want it in the video? Because, I mean, if anything, I can cut it out.
Oh, no.
Oh, sweet. I dig it. Because, I think a lot of people don't understand what an actual aioli is. A lot of people think an aioli is just mayonnaise mixed with something. So I think this is great, dude.
Yeah, it was kind of a bonus we're going to do here today.
Yeah, a little add-on, dude. Okay.
Yeah, so aioli is basically a garlic and lemon mayonnaise. Mayonnaise consists of emulsified egg yolks, water, and some kind of oil, whether that's olive oil or you can use fats or anything like that. Basically, the egg yolks act as an emulsifier with the water to combine with the oil, and that's what creates mayonnaise. We're going to flavor ours with a little lemon and garlic, because that is the most basic aioli. So we'll start with a couple of egg yolks, just a little bit of microplane garlic. That's good enough there.
Okay.
Juice of a lemon, so this is going to act as water as well, and it's going to behave as water when it comes to consistency. You know what I mean?
And also give it some flavor.
Totally. So
2 for 1.
Juice of a lemon minus a seed. So that was half a lemon. We're going to go next half a lemon here. And then we're going to add a little oil.
Okay.
Slowly. This is the part that...
the fun part.
Yeah, the fun part. So I like to work my egg yolks together.
And pro move right here, put something down under the bowl so the bowl's not sliding around on you.
Yeah, totally. So I have a wet towel right here. Some people twist them up and put them in a roll underneath. I just like it straight up like that.
Yeah, it gets the job done.
It totally gets the job done. So we're just going to slowly add oil. I haven't done this in a bowl with a whisk in a long time.
Oh, man. Yeah, normally you got like a KitchenAid going.
Yeah, totally. So we use a food processor or something like that. But
same concept. Like, you don't want to add too much oil.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that the oil is getting emulsified into the egg yolks. And you start real slow.
Once you get a base, you can kind of
totally
add a little bit more at a time, right? But I don't know if there's any telltale signs that you look for from if you add too much oil. But I know something that I would normally see is if I start seeing the oil trace around the bowl, and be predominant on the top, then I need to slow down and maybe whisk a little more.
So I'm gonna add a little water in there. It just looked like my lemon juice wasn't doing the job.
Okay.
And so the egg yolks will typically allow the water and oil don't mix, and so the egg yolks will allow them to bind. Let's see if I can mess this up here on video.
Oh, it looks like it's going fairly well, because you'll see it goes from a dressing to an aioli, like in stages of thickness.
Yeah, once it's thick, you can, once it's emulsified as a base, like you said, you can really start adding.
Cool. If anything, we'll tag in. I'll start whisking it.
I got a well-practiced whisking arm here. And so we make aioli at 12 quarts at a time, and so it's a lot easier with little equipment to make it happen.
Yeah. But at-home chef, I mean, here
Totally.
you guys are.
Yeah, when you run out of mayonnaise, this is how it's done. All right, so we're starting to thicken up.
But
I was a little concerned there.
I had faith in you the whole time. My one big thing is, like, it's pretty known that French people use aioli for their fries and stuff. Like, who's the person that had to make the aioli in the beginning when there was no equipment, and everybody's like, oh, I want some with my fries? I mean, that would be kind of frustrating for me.
Yeah, well, the egg yolk emulsification is like, that's the mother sauces. That's your hollandaise and things like that. Like, people have been using egg yolks to emulsify. I mean, to emulsify fat for a long time. But yeah, the first guy, I don't know how they figured it out. The same thing with the first guy who ate the artichoke. I don't know who looked at that and said,
let's
I'm gonna be able to make that happen. But,
well, then the time it took, right? Because he had to do it a couple times and it not be good.
I'm sure,
You said it best on the podcast, that egg yolk's the thing that we have yet to recreate, and that's why it's used in so many things.
Totally. All right, so we're getting a little thick. So, something that you learn over time making it, the water and the lemon juice thin it out, and the fat makes it thicker and thicker and thicker. So the more, if you, one egg yolk should be able to emulsify a fair amount of oil, but you'll see it'll get thicker and thicker and thicker the more oil you add. And if it starts getting too thick, because once it gets too thick, it'll break.
Yeah.
And if it, you feel like it's getting a little thick, add a little water, lemon juice, some kind of liquid. All right, we're just gonna go there for now. That's gonna be thick enough for us.
Okay.
So we're just gonna go right over here for now. And so what makes this aioli a little different is I like to add a little sesame oil, a little soy sauce, and that really makes it, this is your basic aioli. Now it's your basic aioli.
Now it's there. That little band, that little salt, man.
You gotta have a little salt in there. And so I like to add a little soy sauce, which is gonna behave as water again. So it's gonna thin it out a little bit, but it's all good. Enough soy sauce to make it good and salty. I'm gonna add a little sesame oil, maybe a teaspoon and a half.
Something like that.
So boom, boom, boom. Now a little more soy sauce, so it's got that color. I'm gonna give it a shot here. See how we're doing. Andrew a shot here so you can see how we're doing.
Man. Tastes good.
All right.
I like the sesame in there on the back end.
Yep. So
The soy comes through nice.
Yeah, so the soy, it kind of just makes it really salty, and that's what I like. So you're dipping your artichoke in it, and it's like every bite you take makes you want to have another one.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal there. All right, so that's that. Your aioli, your basic recipe, and then your sesame aioli.
And you got some for next time.
That's right. We got plenty. We'll need it on our menu. All right. Excellent. So I'm just gonna throw that in the fridge real quick. By fridge, I mean reach in. All right, that's that. So artichokes are clean. Aioli dipping sauce is ready. So like I said, I don't do any of the grilling or anything like that at home. But here
How do you heat it up? Do you heat it up at home, or do you go?
So I pull it right out of the steamer and I serve it whole. So I don't clean the whole center out.
Oh, that's right. We already talked about it in the beginning.
So
you're just eating it fresh.
Yeah, I eat it right out of the pot. So
Okay.
you think about 30 minutes and you got an artichoke, when really prep time is 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You throw it in the steamer, get doing whatever else you're going to be doing. By the time you're done doing that,
so when you break it down like that, it's a very accomplishable meal at home.
Sure. Well, that's why I always eat it at home, because it's like whatever I make at home, whether it's a salad or anything else, it's taking me about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I move quick, but I can get an artichoke on and that's steaming in the back burner. I put together whatever else I'm going to put together, and I pull it right out of the pot and it hits the table steaming, ready to go.
I mean, and you just double the workout, a shake weight workout.
That's right. Yeah. So that's why I wasn't going to put the aioli in there, because that's a little bit more work. You can pull out a can of best foods any day of the week.
Yeah.
Add some soy sauce and some sesame oil. Same thing.
I'll cut to when you finish the aioli, or you can just add mayonnaise.
yeah, totally. All right, so here at the Hatch, we have a lovely wood-burning rotisserie and grill. And I'm just going to pop those on there for a minute until they're hot, and then we'll hit the plate with them.
And then so when you grilled it right now, you just put some olive oil, a little bit of salt. Boom.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily need the oil. I like to add a little oil in there. It adds a fat element on there, which will give it a better grill mark.
Okay.
Because there's not a lot of fat on the artichoke.
Yeah, to get a little char on there, something to cook.
That char, yeah.
I dig it.
So all of our artichokes here are grilled for service, and then served with the sesame aioli straight up. We serve with a little bowl to discard on, and they fly. We sell like 120 or something a week. It's incredible. So yeah, that's kind of that.
Cool, man. I mean, the aioli came out really good, and he really well.
Yeah. So this is how we serve it. There's a variety of ways to serve it. If you want to put your aioli in a side bowl or whatnot. But for ease purposes, this is how we do it. A little chive just for some greenery.
Okay.
I'm going to drop a grilled lemon on there. I do a lot of grilled lemon with mine at home, but not how we do it normally here. Boom, boom.
Now, does the charred lemon add an extra element of flavor?
I don't know.
Or does it just look
looks
nice,
good.
Right? It just looks nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
I think it might make it a bit sweeter, but I don't know if that's just in my head. Because I spend the time grilling them.
For sure. I do it for looks.
Yeah.
I really like fresh lemon juice. So like when it comes to grilled fruits and things like that, I'm not particularly interested in grilled peaches or grilled pineapple. It's like I want it straight up as it was meant to be. That's personal preference. Not everybody's preference, obviously. All right. So.
And these guys will heat up fairly quickly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody prepped these at their house and they were heating them up on stove or via oven, I mean, it happens pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, so especially with artichokes, they hold great,
Yeah.
So, like, if you were doing artichokes for, a bunch of people, you could steam them all. I don't know if you want to go through the work of cleaning them or not, but you could steam them all ahead of time, but then just throw them back in the steamer for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're all hot, ready to go. You can warm them up in the oven. You can put them under the broiler. You can put them on the Barbie.
On the Barbie, I dig it.
Like, you can do all the work ahead of time.
Yeah.
Whether you qualify that as a lot of work or not.
I think that this would be a great thing to bust out at a party. I mean,
totally.
You show everybody you can hammer down 12 artichokes,
Totally. And that's what's cool. People, it's ironic that people don't make them very often. Not that I know
it's
of.
intimidating. I mean, you kind of touched on it in the very beginning.
Totally.
Yeah, and like you said your mom made them at home. I think that was the first instance I've heard of that.
Really? I mean, she did, and we just got them right out of the pot, and I don't remember it being that much work, and, here I am, however many years later.
Now, did she give you a disclaimer about the, is it the heart? It's the heart of the artichoke. I mean, what's the proper name for that? Is that the heart that you take out?
I think it's called the choke.
The choke, okay.
The choke.
So she just gives you a disclaimer about it, hey, don't eat that.
Yeah, don't eat that, and see when you get to the end of your artichoke, you got just the choke part, and then I should check that. That's what I call it. I don't know if it's actually called that. And then
But they get what we're talking about.
yeah, totally. And then you get, you know, the heart around it. So show me how to get in there with a spoon, and that's a little messy, but like it's really, you know, life gets harder than cleaning artichokes, I think. So boom, boom, boom. That's what we're going for, and that's how you get it at the hatch.
Just like that, man.
Just like that. So grilled lemon if you desire, little sesame, soy aioli, grilled artichoke, and these are big, beautiful artichokes. You know, that's like that's almost a meal in itself. And so each one that you go for, you pull the leaf off there, kind of just dip it in the aioli.
Little bite off
Just pull the tip off.
Okay.
You know, when I describe it as like eating crab. You know, there's a fair amount of work for just that little nibble, but you get to the heart
worth it, right?
at the end, and it's really worth it.
Once you get to that heart, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even the leaves taste great too. Do you mind if I
get in there?
Heck
Yeah, no, they're all yours. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just little nibbles, and you toss it, little nibbles, and you toss it, until you get down to the bottom, and I think it's fun. You know, when I've done it a few times, I'll do it with something like crab, where like the point of dinner is getting in there with your hands and dipping and getting messy, and it's kind of fun.
kind of a little precursor to it?
Totally.
So just real quick, where could somebody at home buy some artichokes? I mean, I know I've seen them at Costco.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like Smart & Final probably sells them.
They're in almost every grocery store.
Especially here, right?
Yeah, in California, you can usually find them anywhere you go. They got them at the farmer's market periodically. There's a gentleman there that grows asparagus and artichokes, and you know, he has them, and I think he grows them locally, and he has them for sure later in like fall, October, and then like before summer, around springtime, I think is when he harvests his. And he's got globes and he's got babies, but they're anywhere, you know. If you know, I don't hear about people cooking them and making them and eating them very often, but they're very available.
Yeah.
So
cool, man.
Yeah.
I dig it. Great, great recipe, great, easy to follow, like you said. I think people should try it out at home. Let us know how they came out.
Totally.
Especially if you tried out the aioli. I mean, kudos to you guys.
I wanted to sneak that aioli in there for those that wanted to take it a step further, but like I said, some kind of jarred mayonnaise with soy sauce and sesame oil was totally sufficient.
Cool, man.
Grilled, not grilled, totally sufficient. I just suggest that people become less intimidated about it. Go out and try this awesome vegetable side dish, whenever you can.
Cool. And if you guys do, I mean, come by, stop by the hatch, let them know.
Yeah, come by and let me know, or come in and try ours.
Yeah,
we'll do the work for you.
Right? Sweet, dude. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Andrew. Man. Appreciate it.
Amber, do you want to come try it? Well, guys, great interview. Tasty artichokes, some good aioli. What more could you ask for? Thanks again to Chef Cory and the Hatch. Put links to his social media, links to the Hatch, located in the description. Set up a reservation, go check him out. Tell Cory I said hi. And if you like the podcast, please subscribe, comment, share it with your friends. Thanks, guys. Okay.